What's up, guys? Sorry about that. So today we're gonna be talking about the 4 R's. There we go. So today we're gonna be talking about the 4 R's. That is rest, reset, reevaluate, and redo. Anything in life, as anyone knows, you're never gonna get it right the first time, ever. That's why I like the saying fail. First you're gonna have to take over. One of my kids is crying. Give me 1 second.
So yeah, in life, you're never going to is always gonna have to readjust. It doesn't matter how you look at it. Always readjust. You always have to reevaluate. And honestly, sometimes you just need to rest. You put your all in everything. You keep going and going. And sometimes I think we've all done it where you work on something as hard as you can, as much as you can, and you take a break, and all of a sudden everything comes back, right? And that's kind of where we're at. Is a lot of people just keep pushing and pushing as hard as they can, and they never take the time to actually stop, look what they're doing, reevaluate, and then redo it, or continue on in it with a new structure.
That is facts, brother. So, um, I missed everything you said. One of my kids was acting up. I apologize for taking off the way I did. So, with that said, I do want to make sure and actually show this right up there. This is from Two Vets Canine, first attempt in learning. If you guys don't know who Two Vets Canine is, go check him out on his own channel. He also has a website known as twovetscaninetraining.com where he helps out veterans with service dogs. It's amazing. Go check them out. But I know you have a company called No Cut Cards. Am I right, Kevin?
You're right. You're
Okay.
exactly right.
And you use that company to try to help people uh, basically get out of their own ways. You motivate them and stuff like that. You're also a life coach or motivational coach. Um, that people actually can hire you to actually help them navigate or get motivated to do the things they want to do, right?
Absolutely. Yep. You're absolutely
My
right. That's
my guess is that it didn't just like fall into your lap one day. Hey, I'm gonna be a motivational speaker. I'm gonna start, helping people through their life. You learn through the school of hard knocks, like many of us.
Yep, you're exactly right. Yep, that's how it is. You learn that's why, everything in your past, a lot of people live by it. You should use it. That's exactly what I started doing. I started, a few years ago. I kind of changed my mindset and I learned that, instead of sitting there pitying myself and, oh, woe is me and life sucks. Well, I started using it to actually, to help other people. And I guess we say my purpose in life has just been to be that person that I always tried to find to guide me and to help me with mindset, even mindset, business opportunities, financial, mindset change, everything. Is I never found that person, and I ended up growing into that person. And now it's like, you know what? I want to be able to offer that to other people as well.
So I speak a lot about my past in Ohio and everything like that, where I was homeless, fighting for my kids and everything like that. I used to refer to that as my dark time in life, right? It was the darkest moment of my life, right?
Hmm.
I no longer refer to it as that. I actually refer to it as my great reset because you're going to come across, and for you young kids out there that are just getting started in life, you're going to come across times in your life where it just feels like everything's done. Like I can't do this no more. But the problem is the moment you can get from I can't do this anymore to it's time to reevaluate, that's where growth happens. Your growth is going to happen on the reevaluating spot, right?
That's
So
right.
maybe you're going through hard times with as a child, maybe you're going through a divorce with your family, okay? Most kids tend to blame themselves, right? But it's not your fault because you don't know what happened behind the scenes. I'm sorry. You could say, "Oh, I know everything. I know everything." No, you don't. You don't know what happens. As parents, and this is coming from a parent, I'm sure Kevin can agree with this. We don't tell our kids everything because if we did that, honestly, a lot of that would actually be considered abuse. I'm sorry, it would be. I'm not going
Yeah.
to tell my kids, "Oh, I got beat up at such and such by it because I decided to mouse them." No one's going to tell their kids that, right?
Hmm.
So understanding the facts that right now it may feel hard on you. This may be your time to rest and reevaluate. Like, I know when I first wanted to become a motivational speaker and all that was actually during my time of my great, what I call my great reset. Um, and I was tired of having to deal with the same old crap of having to fight for my kids, being told I wasn't good enough to be a dad. I mean, and I know a lot of you fathers out there know this feeling because we've all been through it. You know, as a father, we also have to realize we are only as good as what we're allowed to be, right? My issue is I honestly was starting to believe that I wasn't good enough to be a dad. My kids were better off without me and all that. It took my daughter actually saying, "Dad, you're the best dad in the world," to wake me up and be like, "Look, I'm listening to all this negative crap coming at me, but I'm not listening to the positive person, the one peop the group of people that actually need me right now." And as a father, it was my kids. So at the time, everything may feel like it's stacked up against you. Reevaluate. Reevaluate the choices you made that led you to that spot. Reevaluate maybe distractions you allowed to get in your way. For me, it was gaming. Gaming was actually as much as it was a way of not dealing with problems at the time. That by technicality is a distraction. You have to deal with those problems. You have to meet those problems head fucking on, right? So that's a reevaluation process. Okay, so I didn't meet those problems head on. I decided to distract myself through gaming. Okay, so now I'm 4 years behind on doing my journey that I start my adventure. Sorry, I call them an adventure, not a journey. Doing my adventure. So now where I'm at, I'm 4 years behind. Where would I have been if I would have kept going 4 years ago like I wanted? Where would I be here? Where would I be today? Granted, with that said, I probably wouldn't know Kevin. I wouldn't know not my final form who I see in the comments. What's up, brother? I wouldn't know a lot of the people that I'm getting to meet, right? Because once again, and I know Kevin has said it many times, it was not my time, right?
That's right. Yep, that's right. It wasn't your time, and that's you're not going to get what you can't handle, right? I mean, if you say if you do it right, you won't get what you can't handle. So the 4 years you say that I'll say you say wasted time. It wasn't. It's the 4 years that you didn't actually capitalize what you're supposed to do is because you couldn't handle that time. All the shit you were going through, you could never put the time into this. And honestly, you probably wouldn't have been able to handle this like mentally, emotionally. You wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. You wouldn't have had to keep going. You wouldn't have had the mindset to let shit roll off your shoulders, right? You wouldn't have mindset to not let people fucking bother you. You wouldn't have the mindset to even want to be successful. So, and that's all part of how this operates.
Um, I think another thing that we also got to remember is that I've heard this so many times, so many times. Well, if I was just given a break, if I was I just need a break. And you've heard me say it. I've said it myself. All I need is a break, and I know I can make something work. Well, here's the problem we have, right? Okay. That break will come when you work your ass off for it. Okay. So once again, we're going back to the rest, reset, reevaluate, and redo. I wanted to become a motivational speaker 4 years ago. I wanted to get into the fitness journey. I wanted to become a personal trainer, nutritionist, and all that, right? 4 years ago, I actually started with NASM, NASAM. Yeah, anyways, sorry. And it wasn't my time. I'm sorry to say it, but it really was not my time. Now I'm working with ISSA. I'm passing the quizzes left and right. I'm reading left and right. I'm actually putting my all into it, right? But at the same time, I have people like not my final form. He's not only putting his all into it, but he's at the gym every day with a personal trainer and a coach. Okay. Me, I don't have a personal trainer or coach to actually teach me forms and stuff like that, which is something I do need to get eventually. But I'm not doing it to actually become a personal trainer. I'm doing it to learn the skill, right? So for me, being a motivational speaker, you have to be able to not only motivate people, but you also have to be able to understand that yes, fitness is a part of the journey. I tell everyone this at the same time, fitness shouldn't just be the only part of your journey. Your mental health needs to be key. So therefore, you need to be reading, you need to be writing, you need to be out there actually hustling for your health. Not necessarily out there, pushing sales and stuff like that, but you need to be out there hustling, right?
Mhm.
Um, so what, Kevin, can you tell me like a time in your life where you actually had to use the 4 R's to actually get back on track of things?
Every day. Every day. It doesn't stop. It's every day. So here's a good example. You're driven, right? Like okay, and I've talked to you before. I've been sitting here, you know, at a studio for hours. I mean 24, 36 hours, right? Straight. Going, going, going. Because you think, okay, I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. I'm not done with this. Oh well, I have another idea. I have an idea. The problem is that you eventually you go so long without sleep, without resting, your ideas aren't even creative anymore. You're not even
Yeah.
thinking right anymore. Like you just aren't. So when you get to that point, and I'm sure a lot of people have done this, is you work on something, you work on something, just dedicate, work your ass off, and then you're like, you know what, I'm done, just for like the day. Like you're done for the day. That's fine. Well, as soon as you come back to it, if you realize all the shit you're trying to figure out, it comes right to you. You're there for an hour, and all of a sudden, boom, it comes right to you. It's because what you had to do is you had to rest, you had to reset, and you reevaluate, right? That's what you had to do. That you had to do that. You had to have a choice. If you keep sticking with the exact same plan all the time and it's not working, again, the definition of sanity is, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different result. It's the same thing. If you don't rest, if you're in the same habit, the same shit every single second, nothing's going to change. It's going to stop and it's not going to change. And that's when you have to rest and reset.
So
There
in
he
my
is.
opinion, I sorry about that. In my
You're good.
opinion, I believe everyone should carry around one of these. It's a notebook that you can just write down your ideas in. And believe me, you can ask Kevin, I'm constantly writing down ideas. Anything that we talk about winds up getting wrote in the notebook. Um, so one thing I would like to say is, if you are trying to put yourself in a better mindset, kind of like songwriting. Yeah, exactly, kind of like songwriting. If you're trying to put yourself in a better mindset, then you've also got to understand that there are areas in your life that need reevaluating, such as anything that could possibly be a negative impact on your life. Like for me, you know, fighting for my kids during in Ohio. I was homeless. I had no place to go. I was living in my truck. I was fighting the state for my children, right? And while I was fighting for the state for my children, I was being told by the state that you're not good enough to be their dad. The only way you're going to get your kids back is if somehow you became a mom. And yeah, you know, that's wrong. And I will say it wasn't. I pretty much lost all fight in me until a man. He's actually Bishop Hill from the Mormon Church out in Ohio. Amazing guy. I'm telling you right now, amazing guy. He found out that I was homeless. I needed a shower. I was really sick. You know, I literally wound up going. He wound up getting me a hotel room for the night. I was able to take a nice hot shower, and after like 3 months of just going to truck stops to get a shower, or even as bad as it sounds, I don't know if you guys know what a hobo bath is. Basically, where you take a rag and you just wash yourself up. You know, it felt great to actually be in a hot shower and being able to sleep in a hot bed or a warm bed, hot bed. But little things like that. So taking myself out of the negative environment that I was in, sleeping in my truck and all that, and actually being able to sleep in a hot bed and having a nice shower. A lot of us take that for granted. A lot of us take that for granted, thinking, "Oh, well, it's when you're actually able to take yourself out of the negative mindset and be able to put yourself in a positive mindset. It's enlightening. Okay,
Mhm.
so this person's talking crap about me. This person's trying to attack me left and right. Okay, now this is kind of like school. Okay, you're getting bullied left and right. Well, why are they bullying you? Could it be because they see something in you that scares them? or maybe they don't have themselves. You know, these are things that I've kind of noticed with people is people judge people immediately because there might be something in there that you don't see. Like I didn't see the strength I actually had in me at the time until I actually took myself out of the environment I was in. Once I got back into that environment, I was able to conquer it. I got full custody of my kids. I actually finally, after 2 years of fighting for my kids, I finally stood up in court. I didn't allow the bailiff or anyone to tell me to not, because it used to be anytime I tried to stand up for myself, the bailiff would tell me to shut up or someone would tell me to shut up. I finally said, fuck it, I'm going to talk. And I stood up and I've said, you know, I have jumped through every hoop. Why can't I have my kids? And the judge goes, well, what's going on? You know, like it's like he was shocked that I was speaking. But once again, you want something bad enough, you're going to get it. Doesn't matter how many times you got to use the 4 R's, you're going to get it. And like he said, you use that every day. You should literally take a rest, reset everything in your day, reevaluate what you did that day. And by reevaluate, that means you find out what kind of distractions you allowed to get to you. You find out what kind of mistakes you possibly made or what could have went better. We have in the podcast and anyone that's in the podcast can tell you, we actually have a section in our Discord where we actually have an after action report, kind of like the military, you know, where we go through what went well, what didn't go well, how can we do it better, how can we make our podcast better for the viewers, because you know, one, we can't help anyone unless we know where our mistakes are, right? And I am happy to say we have inspired two young kids to actually get on and actually start doing their journey. One of them is Ice Bro 1, who is on YouTube. The other one is actually my nephew Kelly, who is planning on creating his own social media and talking about his fitness goals and everything like that. Now, my cousin Kelly, like a few years ago, he was stabbed, left for dead. Okay. Now this kid is actually up, walking. He has 2 kids, and things are actually going really well for him. So one of the things I will say is if we're inspiring these 2 kids to do better for themselves, that's amazing. That is really amazing. That means we're doing something right. So with that said, push this out. If you guys can, share our videos out. Give us a subscribe. Help us grow so we can help other young individuals reach their goals. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. Now, like you said, you know, the whole idea of the podcast, just in general, even my purpose, his purpose, and everyone else, is just to try to provide value to everybody, because, you know, everyone's been through shit. Everyone has been through a bunch of shit, some more than others, but you know what? That's not the point. The point is everyone's been through shit, and well, most people have been through shit, and most people at least have felt somewhat the same way. You know, again, the situation's different, but that's not what connects people. What connects people is the way they felt during the situations. And that's the whole point, is to be able to take your past situations and your mentality now and how you've dealt with it to be able to, you know, help others go through it, because a lot of people don't think there's any way out of what they're going through, and they don't really want to talk to anybody about it, because that's something that people, you know, they don't like giving out their information, which I get it. But just being able to see people and hear their story, it goes a long way, because you know that people can have been through the same situation you've been through, have actually pushed through it. And that's where on my website, theofficialnocardcards.com, there's actually a spot to share your stories. And I would love for everybody to, you know, put their stories of mindset growth. And it's not a therapy session. It's just, if you've been through a bunch of shit, it's whatever you want, but, you know, just how you've gotten through it. And again, that's the whole point of everything that we do. You know, and I know a lot of people say that, oh, it's not about the money. It's really not. It's just about being able to provide the value. And like I said earlier, you know, my whole purpose is to be able to become that person that I never found, and to be able to offer that to other people. And I know that Desert's the same way, and Two Vets, who's sitting in the comments, you know, he's the same way, and Not My Final Form and Unburdened, they're the same way. And that's the kind of people you need around you. The people you don't need around you are the ones who are just straight negative. Even if it's not negative towards you, it can be negative towards anybody, anything. If you're somebody that constantly says, my life sucks, or, oh, look at this shit all day, it's going to bring you down, whether you see it or not. It just does. And it brings that negative energy around you in general. So the shit that you want, it's not coming to you. right? It's just not coming. That's part of resetting too. You have to, the whole rest, reset, reevaluate. That goes with your life in general. You have to literally sometimes sit, you have to stop and look back and say, okay, I'm going to review my entire life with the people and everything else, and I have to reevaluate this shit and
No,
then redo it.
I'm constantly telling people, yes, we all go through shit. Yes, we all have issues in our life where, you know, that have transformed things, especially traumas. They transformed into actual disabilities for us. But the thing is, just like Kevin says, just like I say, your traumas do not make you you. You can either one, choose to sit in your traumas and feel bad for yourself, or you could figure out a way to overcome them and become better.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that you're going to cure yourself. You're not. But I'm going to tell you right now, there are too many doctors out there saying that, the medications that they're putting us on is not to cure us. It's just to make things better. You
Hmm.
know, I'm sorry. And yes, call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't care. Yes, big pharma, the only thing I believe they're doing is creating repeat customers. That's it.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, and like you said, trauma defines who you were. How you deal with that trauma defines who you are, who you're going to be. And that's the best way to say it. And a lot of people's trauma, it sucks. There's a lot of people been through a lot of shit. I get that, and it might be harder for some people to do that, to get past it. But the thing is, if you can use that shit and not live by it, like I said, that's who you were. It's not who you are now. You're not going through that right now. You went through that before. So if you're sitting here right now and you're having that problem, use what you've gone through, right? And just even on a basic level, say, you know what? It all sucks. Life sucks. Okay. I went through a bunch of shit, but guess what? You actually did beat it because you're sitting here right now. You're
Yep.
literally, if you're alive right now, you have beat it. And I know it sounds very, very basic. Like, well, oh yeah, well that's a real good accomplishment. Everyone's alive. Yeah, but how many people didn't make it? How many people didn't do it?
Yep. I got
You
one
know?
for you. Okay. I got one for you. And I didn't believe this until I was actually looking in with Gary Vee, right? Um, give me a sec. 15-year-old girl can't think. Anyways, but what I'm saying is Gary Vee says it himself. Your chances of being alive are what is it? 1 in 400 trillion?
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
1 in 400 trillion. Do you realize you have a better chance of being a millionaire than you actually do of being born?
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, I even looked the stats up. It is fact. You have a better chance of being a millionaire than you do of even being alive. So if you are alive today and you were born, why? Why are you allowing yourself to sit and not succeed because either your past, your family, or just relationships in general? If you're
Yep.
if you're addicted to anything, I don't care if it's drinking, cigarettes, whatever. Those are all distractions. Those are all distractions. Eliminate them. I'm not
Yep.
saying like, oh, cut them, come out cold turkey. I'm not saying that having a drink every now is bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is quit allowing the distractions to get in the way of your success. I
Mhm.
don't care if your success means, you know, being a rock star parent that goes to every football game that your child has, or soccer game, whatever sports game they have. Okay, I'm not saying that that's not success. That is success. Success
Mhm.
is defined by our own perception. You know,
Mhm.
so my belief in success is whether or not I can actually help a few people get better in their life, whether or not my children become grown adults that are able to manage their life better than I can. I can't say correctly because what adult out here really can manage their life correctly? I
Right.
know we all
Right.
struggle.
Yeah,
I don't
we
care.
do our best.
Well, there's another saying. Millionaires struggle just as bad as poor people. The struggle is just different, and I've
Mhm.
always said it. You cannot gauge someone's pain based off your own because you don't know. You're not living in their head, right? So
Yep. Yep, you're right. It's not about the situation. It's about what they go through, and everyone takes things differently.
yeah,
Obviously, everything takes things differently. And like you said, with the wealthiest of people, the only difference between them and anybody, and a lot of the people have been through some of the worst shit, that you can imagine, like a lot of people have. And the only difference is that they actually decided to do the hardest thing and say fuck it and push through it and then not stop. That's the only difference.
No,
That's
I
the
agree.
only that is the only difference. Everyone has the capability of doing that, and they really do. Everyone does, and it's just like, why think that you're any different? You're not. I mean, you're like, again, I've used this reference before. Is from Corey Taylor from Slipknot, right? He went through child abuse and shit and sexual abuse for years and years and years, right? And it does it still affects him, right? Emotionally, you hear it in his songs. But look at the guy. Look at what he's accomplished, right? Look
Yeah,
but what did he do? He did not let it stop him. He used that to build himself and and he's affected a lot of, millions and millions and millions of people, right? There's no
I agree.
difference. There's no difference between anyone that who's, let's say, famous or wealthy or whatever, upper echelon. There's no difference except
But
for they did something about it.
and I can tell you right now, I by no means am a millionaire. I by no I barely I'm struggling to pay rent just like the rest of us. I really am. I make $12.30 an hour. Okay. Literally minimum wage for my area. Um, but I'm still trying to maintain the mindset that I'm not always going to make $12.30 an hour. I will be making, good money one day soon. And that's the mindset I have to keep. I have to stay in that. Okay, I'm not giving up. I will be there because I'm going to tell you right now, one day I will be able to walk into a store and buy whatever the fuck I want. I will make
Mhm.
sure of that. I will live in the house I want. I will drive the car I want. I will dress the way I want.
Mhm.
I'm not allowing
Mhm.
anyone to distract me ever again like I did before. So,
Mhm.
with that said, yeah, who's in the comments, I gave her the best thing, the best advice I could give her. Quit using I am and I was. Sorry, I quit using I was in the wrong sense. I am, and this is what I want everyone to practice as well. I am going to be successful, or I am successful. Do you see the
Mhm.
difference?
Yep.
I
Yeah.
am successful is a future is a way of speaking in the future, but using it now
Mhm.
because
Yep.
tomorrow you never know. You never know. Like I said, you have a higher chance of being a millionaire than you are being born than you have
Mhm.
being born. So therefore, start thinking of yourself as a success because guess what? You already beat the first odds. You already
Yep.
beat it. Gary
Yep.
Vee says it all the time.
Yeah, and with that, remember what you said about you want to rest, you reevaluate, right? Well,
Yep.
if you think about it, that's exactly what you did when you first started this podcast. You were already resting and you reevaluated your life and you reevaluated everything that you were going to do. And then what did you do? You reset your life completely in 2 days,
Yep.
reset it, and now you're redoing it. Right? It's the
That's
same
it.
way. It's how it goes.
First day of podcast, I stated I believe the day before podcast I told you I'm happy with my Cobalt. It runs great. I love it. Da 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 da. Blew the motor the next day. Like literally the day I started the podcast, I blew the motor coming home from work. Okay.
Mhm.
Then my truck. The truck got a really massive oil leak. So guess what? That's out of commission. So then I was without a vehicle. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still without a vehicle. I still don't have a vehicle that runs. I have a Lincoln Navigator that does not run. Um, but what I'm getting at is you can't let the negative parts of your life affect the outcome. I could have said, nope, I'm not going to do the podcast. I'll just put it off until I get a car. But nope, I don't, I lost my car. I have no way to work. I could have stressed about all that, but guess what? I wound up getting to work that night. I wound up getting to work the whole week. Matter of fact, I'm still going to work. Now, weather permitting, I'm going to try to go to work tonight, but it doesn't look like it. The problem we have right now is so many people focus on what's going on right now that they forget about what their future plans are. And therefore, they are distracted by the present that they're like, they quit working towards their future goals.
Mhm. Yep.
We do that every day.
Everyone's focused on what's wrong, not what's right.
Exactly.
And that's
You
not a
know,
motivation. That's not a motivational thing like say, "Oh, we'll turn this around and say, oh, this is really actually great." Yeah, some things you can, some things suck. Okay. But if you always focus on what's wrong, you're never going to be able to fix it. You're
well, if
never
you
going to be
always
able to
focus on,
you're never going to be able to fix if you don't focus on because if you focus on what's wrong, you're not even trying to figure out how to fucking fix it. You're just like, "Oh, this sucks. This is wrong." And yeah, you might be like, "Oh, well, how can I fix this?" "Oh, well, I need money." and then you're done. Well,
Look,
that you got to focus on the steps to do it. But if you don't focus on the fact that you can go actually fucking do it, you're not going to do it. It won't be attracted to you. It won't be brought to you. So the longer you think about how shitty your life is, the shittier your life's going to be.
the problem is you start focusing on the negative, all that's going to come to you is negative. I'm sorry, it's fact. I've started focusing on more positive attributes in my life. Okay, like Friday I got the podcast. What am I going to talk about on the podcast? I quit focusing on negative things that I got going on in my life. Like my car's broke down. How am I going to get to work? Those are negatives to me. I'm sorry, but they are. I've got a podcast Friday. How am I going to make that work? How am I going to entertain you guys and motivate you guys to get off your asses and get the fuck to work? You know, and I mean, I'm not even talking necessarily physically, because I'm sorry, I would much rather you go and learn a new skill, learn a new trade, learn something than actually become physically fit. You know why? Because knowledge is power. The physical part you can get later. Knowledge is power. Learn how to do it. Learn how to get through what you're trying to get through. You know, and yeah, just so everyone knows, we are on a cold front here in Missouri. I don't know about anywhere else, but please be safe when you're out there. Please be safe, because don't be driving like a moron. You know, those are someone else's kids out there. I'm only saying that because it was brought up in the comments that, you know, a bunch of highways are shut down right now, and I hope everyone's prepared for the cold weather. What about the cold weather of failing in your dreams? I mean, what about that? That should be colder than anything right now in your head. That is a possibility. Now, I'm almost 40 years. I got 39 years old. I just turned 39 December 31st. You know, and you ask Kevin, I literally was thinking, you know, half my life is done, and what do I have to show for it? I just started a podcast at 39 years old. You know, I'm just starting to get myself where I wanted to be 4 years ago. I get it. Kevin says, well, you weren't ready for it yet. That's why you're ready for it now. Okay. So it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get to the goal. Just get to the goal. Right?
That's right.
The cold weather will be there whether or not you're fighting.
That's right. So. Always. Yep. Oh, and it's never too late. And the problem is, as it gets later in your life, it's going to be harder to go. And
exactly.
not because of the time, not because you have much time. It's because when you do that, you say, oh, well, it's already been this long. Like you said, oh, it's already been half my life. I haven't done anything yet. Okay. Yep. Well, shit. Well, why even do it? Because literally one day can change that completely. Right. But everyone always, oh, I've taken this long to do this. So well, fuck it. Well, okay. Well, that's why
do it.
But that's why you are, because you've been saying that for 10 or 15 years. Well,
how about this? How about this? Half my life is gone, and I didn't start this when I wanted to because maybe I didn't have the knowledge I needed to, and I wasn't aware of it. Maybe I didn't have, as bad as it doesn't sound, the traumas that could actually help other people through my story, or through Kevin's story, or through Ice Bro's story, Not My Final Form story, Unburdened story. You know, we all have stories. And once again, I know he already brought it up, but I encourage you guys, go over to the official NoCutCards.com. Put in your story, guys. Put in your stories. And, you know, we're going to be setting something up soon to where you guys can actually interview to be able to come on the podcast and tell your stories as well. Have your own area where you can actually try to motivate people through your experiences. And I think that's going to be amazing for other people. So once again, when everything's set up, please stay tuned, because we're working day and night to get everything set up to where you guys actually have your own area where you guys can actually speak, and we're here to help. You know, I started my journey, and I'm not gonna lie. You can ask Kevin. You can ask Tuvets in the comments. I started this journey. I had no intention of actually getting into the motivational side yet. My intention was to speak on men's mental health, which I'm still all about. Don't get me wrong. I do believe men need to support men. I'm sorry, guys, but it's a hard life out there already for us. Don't make it harder on yourself by closing off. We are here. There's men all over this planet that will definitely sit down and talk to you.
Yep. And be careful where you get your advice. And I'm not even saying take it from me. I'm not saying take it from him. But you know, when you talk to people that you know, or people that, well, yeah, talk to people that you know you're around, look at where they are. And if you don't want to be where they are, don't take the advice. It's perfect. It's great to talk to people. Okay. It's always awesome to talk to people, but be careful who you talk to. Again,
Yep.
because if someone is living the same way you are and you don't like it, why the fuck would you take their advice? You're living the same damn way. Doesn't make
Yep.
sense. And you would be amazed at how many people who are actually doing very, very, very well, who would love to actually talk to you, who would
I,
love to give you advice.
I'm going to change that kind of up because, whereas, don't take advice from people that are okay with living in the same situation you're in.
Mhm.
Because I'll tell you right now, once again, I said it. Give me a sec.
Oops. There we go.
Go ahead and keep talking, but I'll be right
No,
back.
no, you're good. You're good. No, because you again, like you said, yeah, you, you don't want to take advice from anybody who's okay with where they are, right? If they are where you are and they don't see any problem with it, why would you take their advice? There's no point because you're not going to move anywhere. And like I was saying, is you'd be amazed at how many people are doing very well. They might not even know we're doing well, but you have no idea how many people are doing very well or are going towards their life or they're way a different level than you are, who would love to actually give you that advice or who would love to talk to you about what's going on. Now, I will tell you, people don't want to hear about other people's problems. Like there's a difference between growth and getting it out there and therapy. Okay, there's a big difference. Yeah, you can talk about your problems, but do something about them. And that's something that I have definitely seen many times is if you talk about your problems and keep getting them out there, and I can understand that some people need therapists. I understand there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think if you need a therapist, if you want to talk to one, there's nothing wrong with it. I personally don't believe them. And one of the reasons is because the more you talk your problems, the more you live it. It grows. It doesn't go anywhere. You live it. Now, talking about your problem, getting it out there is great. But if you're just going to keep getting it out there and getting out there and keep reliving it, you're never going to get past it. It will never happen. So the people you talk to who are growing, they'll tell you the same thing. The people who are doing better or however you want to put it, living a life that you want, I can promise you, they are doing everything that you're not doing. That is exactly how it is. They're not the same person
Facts.
now, but I bet they have been the same person. I bet they have been exactly where you are. Almost the majority of them have, but they are not still there. And that's where you need to find out is what did you do to get past it? And honestly, 99% of the time, it's going to be a mentality shift. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be a mind shift. It's not going to be what they did for money. It's going to be for a job, for a business, how they got their money. Because when you shift your mind, that shit comes to you. That's the biggest thing that they'll tell you is get rid of your people you're around and and change your mindset.
It's going to actually kind of like blow your mind to find out that most of the people that are actually out here trying to teach people how to shift their mindset and actually try to help people grow actually started from nothing.
Mhm.
Most of the motivational speakers that you hear talk, Gary Vee, he started in a wine. He was selling wine for someone else. He didn't own his own business. He started selling it for someone else, and then bought his own business, and started
It, wa-
selling it for himself,
it was
and
his
got it.
father's business. It was his father's
Yep,
business. He wanted to stop, and
yep,
he was bagging wine for his friends.
yep,
And then he ended up turning himself into what, I think
yeah,
he was part of the Jets, I think, or something
yeah,
like that. Like, and he's only in his 40s. That's I understand. I think he's only like 40s, I
yeah,
think, upper 40s.
yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
What I'm trying to get at is I'm almost 40 and I'm trying to start something new. I'm trying to start this adventure. I'm bringing a lot of you guys along with me, you know, but at the same time, I'm also trying to weed out the negative people in my life. If you're negative, I don't want you in my life. I'm sorry. You'll never resonate with where I want to be. So that's just where it is. Don't take offense to it because believe me, I'd love to have you. But until you change your mindset, there's no way I can keep you.
Mhm.
And you got to be willing to do that to people. You've got to be willing to have that hard conversation. You know, Two Vets has been telling me for years. So many people have told me for years that hey, if you want to do it, just go do it. It took and Two Vets. Sorry about throwing you under the bus again, but it took someone being like, "Well, why haven't you fucking done it yet?"
Mhm. Yeah.
So here's me. This is me saying the same thing that was told to me by this guy over here. If you have a dream or a goal, Why the fuck haven't you done it yet? What is holding you back? And I don't want to hear money because I just told you how much I make. I make $12.50 an hour. I'm
Mhm.
raising 5 kids. Actually, if you really want to get technical, I'm raising 5 kids and trying to hold everything together.
Mhm.
I'm a single dad of 5 kids, guys. Fought for 5 years for my kids.
Mhm.
Won full legal and sole custody.
Mhm.
Out of every bit of failure I can think, every reason I could think that I have to not succeed, I have that one reason I have to succeed. That's because that's what I fucking want to do.
Mhm.
That's what I want.
Mhm.
So there's a saying, and I love the saying, you may be better at a job than me. You may be better at doing something than me, but you will never, ever outwork me. Because
Mhm.
I'm going to tell you right now, while you're asleep, I'm going to be working. While you're hanging out with your friends, drinking and partying, I'm going to be fucking working. Am I wrong?
No, you're exactly right, and it's all about the sacrifice. If you're willing to sacrifice the most, you're gonna end up getting the most, because
So,
that's how the world rewards you.
simple fact is, you only put in, or you only get what you put in. You put in nothing but excuses, you're going to get nothing but negativity and sorrow.
Mhm.
You put in the hard work, you sacrifice what you need to sacrifice, and you get it done. So a lot of friends I grew up with, I barely talk to anymore. And the reason that is because they're just not on the same level.
Mhm.
So if you want to get on the same level as me, I would recommend change your fucking mindset. Quit looking at all the negative in people. Quit being negative about your life and understand your traumas happen. Bad shit fucking happens to everyone. Okay?
Mhm.
But you can't live there. You
Mhm.
cannot live there. That happened in the past. It's time to move on. As
Mhm.
bad as it hurts, I'm not saying forget. I'm saying move forward.
Yep,
Because the
agreed.
people we've lost, the people that have hurt us, everything like that. Let's put it this way: the people that have hurt us don't give a shit about us. The people we've lost along the way on our path, I don't care if it's due from death or just going our separate ways. They're in the past. Don't forget them because they all had some sort of lesson to teach you.
Mhm.
Now's where we get to our redo stage. It's up to you. It's up to you. You're already past the rest stage. You're already past the reset, the reevaluate. Now it's time to redo. What are you going to redo to make yourself a better person and get yourself back in the fight?
Yep, I like it.
So, with that said, guys, we're going to go ahead and end the show. This was more or less just a kind of a thing that we were going to jump up and do. I do know Two Vets from Two Vets K9 would like to give the outro again, which we love it when he does the outro because it is inspiring, and I think what he has to say and how he says it is it helps. So I hope to God that me and Kevin were able to inspire you and motivate you to hopefully understand it's okay. You're on an adventure. You're not on a journey. You're on an adventure, and every good adventure needs a good long rest for a minute. I mean that's the
That's
only way you're
right.
going to recoup yourself. So.
That's right.
Yeah, for those of you guys that are on Facebook that are watching, thank you. We are this will be the last. I know I said the last time, but this is definitely the last Facebook feed we do. So if you want, come over to YouTube at empowered_mindset 26 and jump on in. Give us a like or give us a subscribe. Uh, do the thing with the bell and click all because if you don't click all, it's just going to give you random ass notifications. We go live normally every day or every Friday at 9 o'clock. Like I said, this was a random live because I felt that this needed to be said. I don't know what. I don't know if you call it God pushed me to say it, but I just felt that this needed to be said today. I felt someone needed to hear the reset, the rest, reset, reevaluate, and redo. So I decided to go live. I'm very religious, so I do believe God was pushing me to do it. I do believe there's someone out there that need to hear this. You know, and as parents, that's another thing I'm going to say. Quit fucking making excuses for your kids. If your kids do something wrong, let them deal with it. That's the only way they're going to grow and learn. They got to deal with the consequences. I had to learn that the hard way with my own kids. My kids, they're spoiled brats. They really are. What's up, Ken? We're actually getting ready to jump off here. So, with that said, I'm going to add Two Vets up here. Go ahead, Two Vets. Give your outro.
Hey. So the biggest takeaway that I got from the show was, the effort that you put in is the effort you're gonna get out. And the the one thing that comes to mind is something that my mother always said: junk in, junk out. Whether it be, from a mindset standpoint, or actively doing something, as far as effort. Junk in, junk out. So, with that being said, we enjoyed seeing you today. Know you're loved. I messed that up.
If you want to redo it, go for it.
With that being said, we enjoyed seeing you today. Don't forget to be awesome and know you're loved.
With that said, abracadabra.